Now, from CBS 4 News, this is Facing South Florida with Jim DeFede.
Florida. All right, we are just a few hours away from the deadline for all 67 counties to report their final numbers in their hand recount in two important statewide races, the race for Senate and Ag Commissioner. This morning, we're going to look at why Florida, particularly Broward and Palm Beach counties, are once again the laughingstock of the country. Now, the other big story of the week, a series of gut-wrenching meetings examining both the Broward School District and the Broward Sheriff's Office following the tragic shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. For the first time, School Superintendent Robert Runcie and Sheriff Scott Israel appeared before the commission, and I will tell you now, it did not go well for either of them. But first, the elections. We saw missed deadlines, outdated equipment, lost ballots, and a level of chaos in Broward County, in the Broward County Elections Office, that was just remarkable. So where do we go from here? And is this a preview of what we can expect in 2020? Joining me this morning is Charles Zeldin, a professor from Nova Southeastern University who wrote the book on the 2000 recount, and we're lucky to have him here now. Professor Zeldin, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
So let's just start with, as you look back on this 2-week period that we've had, what conclusions do you draw?
That it's hard to count votes, period, and when there's lots of votes, it gets harder, but we need better. It can be done. Miami-Dade showed it can be done if you do it right. Better machines, better training, better people, all can be effective if you're ready for it.
Is this an issue of leadership? Because I look at the question as to whether or not Brenda Snipes, the supervisor of elections in Broward County, is up for this job. We've had problems with her in the past. Is this a problem beyond her control, or is this an area that she should have a better control over?
Well, one of the things we learned in 2000 was events can make even the best trained, best effective teams look bad. That stated, Broward wasn't ready. They knew they were going to get a lot of votes. They got a lot of votes. They couldn't count them in time. Machines broke down. Ballots were lost. In the end, it's a question of leadership. If nothing else, the buck stops on Brenda Snipes' desk, and she didn't get her team ready.
Okay, so let's say that Brenda Snipes either decides to retire, as she's thinking of, or is removed, which would be also a likely option if she doesn't retire, by either the current governor, Rick Scott, or the incoming governor, Ron DeSantis. If that happens, then, does that just solve the problem, or do we have larger issues as well that need to be addressed?
There are larger issues. Again, a good supervisor fixes a lot of ills. That stated, there's questions of the machines, there's questions of the process, the fact that we're expecting the vote in so quickly. Florida has relatively draconian time limits for vote totals to come in. Extending them an extra 3 days on each end would make things a lot smoother. Broward missed it by 2 minutes. If the stage had been a day later, there would have been a problem. Still would have been problems with the vote counting, but we would have gotten the vote totals in.
You wrote the book about the 2000 recount, and in a lot of ways, the laws that you're talking about now were passed after the 2000 election. It seems as if the legislature is going to gear up and do another round of election law issues, that they're going to try to revamp. Are there specific fixes in the law? Is this an issue of funding? How big a role does financing, buying new equipment? We saw in Palm Beach how their machines overheated because they were so old and outdated.
Yeah, funding is important. You need to keep up with the technology. Remember, we're using machines in Palm Beach County that were there when we were using a third less voters, or dealing with a third less voters than we had now. Again, I also want to stress the short deadlines. The problem in Palm Beach County could have been fixed if they had had a week instead of 3 days to do the process, because they could have cooled down the machines before using them. Better machines will result in better returns. But ultimately, it comes down also to understanding that in the big counties, and that's mostly South Florida, it's going to take longer.
You start hearing some rumblings that there's a call maybe to try to centralize voting. We have a system in the state of Florida where each county, each of the 67 counties are essentially their own departments for elections. They run their own elections, 67 separate counties. There would be a danger, though, in having a national standard or even a statewide, voting system in terms of some of the issues we've talked about before in terms of hacking, and getting into the system. Is it better to keep it decentralized, or would you be favor of a more centralized system?
Well, there are things we can do to centralize. A centralized database for registrations, a centralized design of ballots, things like that could be centralized, could make the vote not only more effective, but equitable. So you wouldn't have the problem in which ballot design might have cost $25,000 Broward residents.
Case, right,
their choice of presenting a vote.
We only have about 30 seconds left. Part of the concern, I would imagine, is if people don't have confidence that their votes are going to count, that's very destructive for our democracy, isn't it?
It is, and anyone who's been trying to say that the vote is hacked, that the vote is being stolen, is misrepresenting the situation. What's going on here isn't people trying to steal the vote. They are gaming the system to their best benefit, but in the end, when you vote and you count the votes. The reality is that we need to improve how we count the votes. Fix that, and a lot of these problems go away.
Professor Charles Zeldin, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
I'm sure we'll be talking more about this.
Yes.
All right, up next, the commission created in the aftermath of the Parkland shooting confronts School Superintendent Robert Runcie and Broward Sheriff Scott Israel. I'll show you exactly what happened after the break.